Hello everybody, today I'm going to talk about the Wim Hof breathing method. It's basically hyperventilation. If you're not familiar, just quick time, you basically just go and if you've ever done nitrous oxide, or you know when you get up and you get like a head rush if you're like low on minerals, you get up and everything goes, your whole vision like gets eroded, and you get like a head rush. I don't think that's healthy. There's a deficiency known for that, I believe. But that's like what it feels like anyway. Like there's so much to say about it. Maybe it's not the best way to start it. I am just speaking on a whim, but I know what I'm on about, and I've been getting really into it recently. And what I've been doing is actually, I realize, especially in the summer, how vibrant this there's a lot to talk about, but how vibrant nature is, and the air when you're in eco locations. Like when there's pollen in the air, you can see that it's like the humidity is different, especially if the sun's like out full blast in summer. So it started when I was doing a lot of deep work, like monk mode type productivity for a while, and then I just felt called to come here and unwind after about 3 days of hustling. So there's many things that I do with the Wim Hof, but we'll get to all of it. So, but I come here because the air, right, you know fucking hay fever, yeah? This is something I understood intuitionally without having to research. I haven't actually still researched it, but I did have a word with a few people about the nature of hay fever and the antihistamines and histamine being in bananas, I believe. I had a talk with Mr. Nature about it, if you know him, he's on YouTube. And there was some other girl, I can't remember her name to be fair, but I'm going to make a video about that whole topic in the future to do with health and the nature of hay fever, because the insight that I had is because I wanted to come down here after all that work, and then I started to breathe, and then I noticed, like, I don't have hay fever, but I sneezed, but I could feel that I caused the sneezing by the mindfulness and the breathing and the deep breathing of nature. And when I did sneeze, the thing is, people think that the symptom is the actual thing to destroy. Is in terms of our medical system tries to stop your symptoms. So hay fever, we think that the hay fever itself is the problem. Like, oh, I'm literally, like, the environment is making this not very convenient. I don't know how people perceive it. Obviously, I haven't ever had like super hay fever, but I'm pretty sure what I realized is that actually the air is actually working with you in like a codependent relationship, as that's how nature works, and the nature of duality as well. Everything, you see that? I just fucking hit that fly out of the air. Everything is duality, so there's black implies white, up implies down, self implies other, etc., and it goes on for like basically everything that exists, I'm pretty sure. And there's a few like transcendent, but I'm not going to fucking give you a lecture on duality. Check out Leo Guru's series on duality, which I've listened to the whole thing about 2 years ago. Right, what the fuck am I on about? So I know this is not relevant, but it's fuck off. It's just about breathing in general, holistically, and health. Like, if you care about the Wim Hof method, you care about this. But I'll get to it anyway. It all ties around. It is got an overarching narrative that the loose ends will tie. Like, that's how most of my videos go. They just branch out, but then at the end, I kind of holistically wrap it up. But I don't know if it's the best move, but this is how I do it for now. I just talk on a whim. But listen, so you're breathing with nature, and I've heard that the histamines is what Mr. Nature says, but this bit's not even like necessarily relevant. Like, the histamines work with the summer air of nature places, and then it brings out mucus, etc., which is the body's purging mechanism of like toxins in one way, but I think it can also be other things maybe. But mucus, you get mucus, if you eat junk food, you'll notice it. I made a short on TikTok of how to discover that you've been ill or poorly or sick your entire life, and the way to do this is to basically get like some organic dark grapes, seeded completely, like organic the best you can, or like maybe organic watermelon, but I think a grape fast is the best. Check out Dr. Robert Morse, he talks a lot on that, that's where I learned it. So I went on a grape fast, but I didn't even do the organic super grapes, right? But I ate like only grapes for 2 days, and I done it a few months later, but only with watermelon for 3 days. And the shit from Tesco's is like GMO and sprayed with pesticides still, and I've made many health lectures in the past, so check them out, and check out Inspector Veg if you want some conscious health bars. But what I'm saying is, after you fast and you clean your system, because you're not putting shit into it all the time, and you're just eating like very simple, clean, organic, like mostly water plants for multiple days, when you return to your Kellogg's bowl of fucking cereal, see what it does. Because the reason why people, the NPCs, quote unquote, or most people who don't really give a fuck about like the health field that much, as I used to not care, basically it's when you get the contrast of how good you can feel in your body, then you understand why it's important and why I speak on this. So yeah, that was a long-winded way of saying that's what caused me to come to nature, and I felt it being good. So that is why, 7 minutes into the video titled about Wim Hof, that is why I do the Wim Hof method in nature, because I can tell that the air has got nutrients in it compared to central Babylon, aka concrete Western culture. So yeah, anyway, I basically I went through a period of not working at a 9-to-5 corporate, which I've done full blast for nearly 4 years. I don't know, you can actually learn to love it, which is weird. That's like what spirituality is in a way. A lot of it is you can realize you can basically project and like cultivate, or like, because you can cultivate an authentic taste for foods that you used to not like. So like cashew nuts, for example, I used to hate cashews, and this is when people say like I hate watermelon, I'm like, I don't believe you. You can like train yourself, and you can make your body understand that watermelon is actually good and there's nothing wrong with it. And also, not saying fundamentally it's good for everybody, but you just kind of like unwire the mechanism that's making you cringe over certain like food, because it is a projection. Because if you was maybe in the midst of the Wim Hof method, or aka nitrous oxide, which it's not really, but in a lot of ways it is, like time stops and it's just the present moment. It goes so deep, it's so nuanced as well. It's very it's like psychedelics, how no two psychedelic trips are the same. It's kind of like that with a Wim Hof. And there's multiple, the Wim Hof is just breath work, so there's multiple different breath work techniques. But I practice the Wim Hof daily now for about 3 weeks, maybe every single day nearly, maybe a bit less than that. But overall I've known about it since I was about 16, 17. I've been doing it. I've had months off at a time though, and my mental health often correlates with if I'm keeping these practices up, or if I'm not doing these practices. Meditation and breath work will change the paradigm, just even physically, like it's mad. So I normally come here, I ground on the grass, which basically means take your shoes and socks off. And then this is the thing, people, like, I spoke to someone who I won't name, and I said, like, why would you not do the Wim Hof? I'm not pushing it on people like I used to be a bit mad with that. I was a bit more ideological and more black and white. I went through a phase around the time I did a podcast with DAVIDSON Psychonautica, realizing that half the spiritual psychosis paradigm, it was actually me. But so then it just, with time, my understandings and views and ways of perceiving reality have become more nuanced and less black and white, and more like holistic and mature. And it's quite a nice process, because you realise that spirituality wasn't actually what you thought it was. And this is a very important thing. There are so many different levels, and it goes on. It's weird how it evolves. What you think is the case will, like, basically not be the case, like 100% soon enough, and you'll realise what you thought was the case is not the case. But, like, obviously there are, like, absolute truths, some of which you can access, of course, on the Wim Hof method. That's a very strange thing about the Wim Hof method, is I've been doing it a lot recently again, like I say, and normally I'm in the sun with my shirt off, the weather's been so amazing, I'm sat by the lake, not close enough that you can fucking fall into it, by the way, you fucking retards. Nah, you can't say that, you're gonna get demonetised for swearing. Okay, Babylon. Right. Yeah, so a weird thing of the Wim Hof is that you just get insights, almost like it's like a download, but it's more like the dialogue speaks in a new way. So obviously, if you know how you can hear your thoughts, which is another insight, by the way. I realised that every sense has a projection sense, and it's just a concept. I know it's irrelevant, but I got to share this I realised this yesterday, and this is what I have value in for some reason. It's like seeking truth. But anyway, like, well, everyone knows this, but it was just a kind of more holistic understanding as I expanded my understanding, as I will tell you now. So you know how you can, like, you see, and you actually see stuff now, and it's like raw sense perception, aka qualia. Well, you can project that you can see something that isn't there, unless you can't, and there's a name for that, which my friend OME Gangster, who I made many songs with, or Greg on the telly when I was called Scila back in the day. But basically, you can project and, like, basically see something that isn't there, but it's like invisible, but you can understand it in like in like some ghost thing. It's like it's there, but it isn't. It's like some overlay, but it doesn't actually really exist. It's like in the mind, but you can still see it. I realize, like, you can do that with everything. Like, obviously, you know how you can hear a song in the same mode. There's like two layers. There's like the reality, and then there's the projection. And there's actually brain scans of what supposedly the projections look like, but who knows how accurate they are, or, like, you know what I mean. But anyway, there's like two layers to every, and you can do it with every sense. And then I started to, obviously there was touch, and taste and smell were more difficult, I found. And then I think there are more senses, like, conventionally, like, somewhat like balance is a sense. You know what I mean? There's other senses, you know what I mean? Like, all these, every label doesn't actually exist. This is the thing, when people go, is it a fucking is it a fucking vegetable or a fruit? Or when they say, I can't fucking remember what the other example was that I had the other day. Regardless, there's no such thing as a vegetable or a fruit. You just made those up and projected it onto sense perception. No, you fucking idiot. Oh my god. Who cares, man? Allow me. I don't know, maybe I can't risk it. I'm sure I'll be alright. Fuck's sake. Yeah, so Anyway, fuck all of that. The Wim Hof method. So he goes in with the relaxation, out with the stress. Go do it. It's on YouTube. 11 minutes guided Wim Hof breathing. There's a beginner's version as well. And when you get really deep into it and you start like losing the plot, because you can hallucinate on some of them. Like Russell Brand's done one called like Get High in 5 seconds, but it's called like Get High on Your Own Supply. And the breath is psychedelic. I heard of. I don't know, but people know this conventionally. Really, it's my own understanding as well. But a lot of people talk about that. A lot of methods to like enlightenment, etc. You can get through fasting and like hyperventilation. And I've hallucinated many things. It's often very vague and hard to grasp, like cobwebs on the ceiling or like just an undefined red object. It's like you just go out and then you come back and then you slowly remember what just happened. It's often. And that, I swear nitrous does that as well. So yeah, when you get really deep into it, it's like he's going out with the stress and you're literally pushing stress out of your body and you can feel it. It's very strange how it feels. It's literally like you're detoxing like emotions. Oh my god. Fuck this.